Episode 2 of Chasing the Meta. I had some other content prepared, but I've been too lazy to actually make the video on it. But today's start or kickoff of the next ranked tournament is kind of forcing my hand here. So what we want to do is take a look at the overall meta. In the last video, we kind of highlighted that a solid set of skills is not enough to carry you to the upper ranks. It'll get you fairly high, but there's a glass ceiling that you're going to hit. And so what is the current meta? Well, the meta comprises of a few things. One, assuming you have solid skills for your team. The next thing is recognizing what the current trend is for the current nerfing, meaning are people hitting last boss or charisma. Recognize that trend, then adjust your lineup skills to avoid that trend as much as possible. And then finally, if you happen to have privy to certain hidden knowledge that other people are not well aware of, taking advantage of that. Last tournament, what surfaced was laser beam and 5-tool were the tools that came to light and people were leveraging to get themselves higher. Those have become common knowledge now, largely due to the last tournament results or showing of teams. So that you'll see that as we take a look at some teams that's very common. So avoiding the nerf. So as I mentioned, two common things to nerf right now are charisma and the last boss. The last boss is universally recognized as a strong skill. The fact that it is no longer around does not mean it's no longer a good skill. It simply means that it's being over-nerfed and people are avoiding it now. So when we take a look at the current ranked power ranking tournament, we can actually see evidence of this. The first and most obvious team is Taiwan Astros. We take a look at its pitching rotation. You're going to see a very low representation, if at all, of any last boss. So let's see. First pitcher here, nothing. Now, dominant pitcher, finesse pitcher, not the strongest set in the world. Okay? It is a decent set, but it is not the strongest. But it does not have last boss, and that's key. Now, next one, no last boss here. Next pitcher, same thing, no last boss. But one thing I'd like to highlight is the common use of finesse pitcher and untouchable. Finesse is generally agreed to be the better skill between dominant pitcher and finesse pitcher. Finesse has more location. Location is better than velocity, and hence it is the stronger skill. So we have untouchable here. We have untouchable here. And we have, in this case, one case of the last boss. Now, as we move down in the power rankings, you'll see more and more last boss creep in. People who, decided to keep last boss in their rotation or simply haven't had a chance to move it off. Now, that said, there will come a time at which people will move off of nerfing last boss, it will resurge in its strength, and people might opt to keep it or reskill for it. With the introduction of the new skills with the latest patch, we're going to see more moving off of things such as untouchable as a third skill, untouchable being the means to avoid last boss, and onto ground baller and such. So nerfing something like untouchable becomes more risky. As it happens, yesterday to my clubmates, I was just pointing out that it's probably time, and I'm probably late on this. Actually, I know I'm late on this, and hence I'm not in the top 100. It's time to adjust what we're nerfing. So just yesterday, as an experiment largely, I changed my mentor nerfs to be untouchable. I don't expect that to have a huge impact for myself personally because I'm not high enough ranked and I don't crack the top 50. If you're in the top 50, I'm going to say it's probably a viable skill to nerf. But below that, you're probably going to be in a lot of crowd that are still on Last Boss, not as heavily focused on Untouchable, but we'll see. Maybe I get a boost from this. It's too late for me to enter the tournament. Obviously, I'm not in there. Didn't make it. Ended up finishing rank 170 or so. We can go ahead and take a look at my team. We'll go to where are we? We go to rank, and I can never remember how to. Oh, yes, I do remember. Okay, going to power ranking. We look at my team. You'll see I fluctuated. I have several weeks in which I forget to play in the last, and then I take big dips, and then a big surge a few weeks ago. I got finished like 80 or 70 something. That jumped me, but you can see that I've ended up finishing 170, 183, and I attribute that to overusage of skills that are being nerfed, going back to the central theme of this video, and also my inability to recognize what the best thing to nerf is. I've stuck on Last Boss, and realistically, I probably should have retooled. I tried Char for a while, and I saw poor results during that time. My ERAs improved by nearly a full point, but my overall performance reduced. Let's visit the hidden knowledge, the 5-tool and the laser beam. As we look once again at teams in the top, let's see, another one would be, I haven't looked at Psych Dodgers yet. I know that he's in the top 10. We'll take a look at pitchers. We'll verify Untouchable usage, yes. Untouchable again. And still no Last Boss. 4 pitchers, no Last Boss. There's Untouchable again. And no Last Boss at all. Very key. Now for batters, I have seen in the teams that I've been looking at, Charisma is a common one to nerf, but so is Spotlight. Not so much as Charisma. Spotlight's fallen off. So because there are two skills on the batting side that are candidates for nerfing, staying on Charisma is not as risky as staying on the Last Boss was. So if we were to take a look at this batting order, we'll still see some Charisma. But you'll also note we start to see more Supreme players, and the usage of 5-tool has become significantly more extensive across the teams. Now, why those two things in conjunction? A lot of people realize, if you've been following Reddit, if you're on Facebook at all, that 5-tool really shines when used on a Supreme player. Why is that? Because when you look at a Supreme player, the base stats, you're only going to generally find one that's below 70, generally below 65, okay? Which means in order to get the optimal usage of 5-tool, you need to boost your lowest one up as much as possible through training. And by doing so, your lowest stat determines what type of bonus you get, and you get a higher bonus. So it is easier on Supremes to achieve the highest bonus. And consequently, we have a lot of teams that are using 5-tool. Now, to confirm and reinforce this, let me show you some of my players, and I can tell you about results that I see in ranked. When using these players, let's go to my lineup. We'll switch over to my battle lineup, and and let's take a look at Petrocelli. And I think I put him on the bench. Here we go. Now, I have 2 shortstops here, both with decent distribution of skills. Both have the exact same skill set. Okay? And I used to run Rico Petrocelli optimized for hitting stats, which means his speed and fielding were lower. And Bogarts, I ran for optimization of 5-tool, and you can see the balanced stats. So, key thing being, his speed on Petrocelli was good 25 points lower than it was on Bogarts. My ranked results my OPS and my average suffered immensely. Bogarts was a ton better than Petrocelli. I am going to attribute that to speed and the proper usage of 5-tool and balanced overall stats, which is surprising. I really expected Petrocelli to be the better producer. He was not. So this is all supporting why 5-tool is in heavy usage. The next thing I'm going to show you is in relation to laser beam and fielding, specifically on catchers. And now with the introduction of new skills, we're going to see this change a little bit more. It's going to morph, and people will be experimenting with this. I'll show you in a later episode, I collected data about the usage of elite trainers, laser beam, and 5-tool on position players and its effect on your defense and your pitcher results. I'll share that in a later video eventually when I get around to not being lazy. I'll share that. But key point being, well, once again, when we look at ranked, not this, power tournament, let's pick another top team. Some of them have hidden themselves. They were very smart. They knew this was coming, and they've put in alternate lineups. I'll show you an example of this. We take a look at, yep, here we go. Alternate lineup, bunch of diamonds, bunch of diamond pitchers. These are not, obviously, their starting rotation. They didn't reach the tournament with those. They're simply hiding their stuff. This guy did it as well, so I won't open him. Who do I recognize as another? I've lost track of actually who the top teams are. Squatchmo. So, where were we? Oh, yes, we are looking at catchers. Laser beam. You're going to see pretty widespread across here the usage of laser beam. You'll also see high fielding training. And through data, I have reinforced or recognized that, yes, that is 100% true. Having a laser beam on your catcher does improve pitcher performance. In fact, so does 5-tool to another level. Now, a lot of teams are opting to try and get some more offense by only going with laser beam and not 5-tool as well. Personally, I went with, let's go, we need my battle lineup. We need my catcher Piazza. I trained him optimally for 5-tool. I have both laser beam and 5-tool on him. Laser beam had the bigger effect and boosts your pitcher performance significantly. 5-tool takes it to another level, but a much bigger effect from laser beam. Therefore, going without 5-tool you can get away with. And I can tell you that 5-tool is an offense with charisma, which theoretically should perform okay. It's horrible. Piazza is a non-offense person. He's simply non-contributor. So having him into my offense is a liability. So I don't have time to drill into every team. I think we've gotten the points across. Avoid the nerf. Figure out how to get your lineup tuned to not be hit by boss charisma nerfs. So reskill to avoid it now. And this is where, if you're not a top team, you don't already have top skills, you don't have the luxury of trying to avoid the nerf. So you're still in the game of just get solid skills on. And once you have solid skills across the board, then you can start thinking about reskilling to avoid the nerf. But don't shoot yourself in the foot and waste blues when you have other players still waiting to make it in with strong skills. Then finally, if you gain privy to knowledge, certainly leverage that. That's pretty obvious. It goes without saying. And I'll leave it to you to take the chance to look at the rest of the teams in the power ranking tournament. You should find similar results to what I saw. And you should also find that as you move lower down in the ranking, you will see more boss and probably, to a lesser degree, more charisma. So I hope this has proved useful. I'd love to hear some discussion. Let's get some comments flowing, please, to help me show up in the search results for YouTube. And I wish everybody better luck than I have seen in ranked. Goodbye and good luck.